Hello. In a previous talk, I mentioned that my overriding motivation during my running career was to become the best runner that I could be, whatever that happened to be. I really like it as a motivation because everyone can have the same one and everybody can be successful with it. If we fulfill our potential, completely fulfill our potential, we can't really be more successful. But of course, to do that, we have to accept that we need to do a lot of running, and we need to run often. And fitting lots of running into an otherwise busy schedule can be difficult, and that's what I want to talk about. My schedule consisted of running twice a day, every day, from Monday to Saturday, with one run on Sunday, but a long run of 15 or 20 miles. I was working full time, I had family commitments and all the rest of it, just like everybody else does. Today I want to tell you the story of how I once managed to go for a 5-mile run during a date. It's not as bad as it sounds, I promise. I had met this tall, slim, blonde, attractive woman, and we'd been out together several times and we were getting on really well, and I suggested that we should have a day out, a full day out when we weren't working one Saturday. And we arranged this, and we decided we'd go to the Lake District, which I've always loved, and it's about an hour and a half's drive from where we lived. So that morning I went for a morning run of about 7 miles, got ready, picked her up about 10:30 in the morning. We set off, we drove over to the Lake District, we stopped for some lunch, we went for a walk to a waterfall. We were having a really nice day, a really nice time. About the middle of the afternoon we arrived in the little town of Grasmere, and I parked the car, and as I parked, she said to me, "I've got an old friend lives here in Grasmere I haven't seen for ages, and while we're here I'd really like it if I could go and visit, if you don't mind." And I said, "No, that's great, you should. While you're here, absolutely make the most of it. Why don't you show me which house it is? I'll drop you off and I'll come back and pick you up in about 40 minutes. She'd obviously assumed that I was going to go with her, and she said to me, "Well, what are you going to do?" And I said, "Well, I'll go for a run." And she didn't say anything to that, but she just gave me a look. And I deciphered the look as meaning, "You're going to go for a run? You expect me to sit in the car with you for the rest of the day while you're all sweaty and damp and dishevelled?" And I said to her, "It's okay. Come on, I'll show you what's in the boot." So we got out the car, I opened the boot, and in there I had a kit bag with all my running gear in. I had a plastic washing up bowl, 2 thermos flasks of hot water, some soap, a flannel, a deodorant and a towel. And I said, "Look, I'm all fixed, I'm all set. I've got everything I need." So I dropped her off. She went in to see a friend. I drove to the car park, parked in the far corner, facing outwards, got changed in the back of the car, set off running, ran. I wanted to run for 5 miles, 30 minutes. I would typically run at 10 miles an hour. And I set off and I ran out of Grasmere. Whichever way you go, it's uphill. So I ran for about 17 minutes before I turned around, because I knew I'd get back more quickly. I turned around, followed my footsteps all the way back to the car. I got back in 30 minutes, just right. I opened the boot of the car, which acted as a shield. I poured all the hot water into the bowl, soapy water and a flannel, stripped off, gave myself no one could see me, gave myself a body wash from head to foot, got dry, put some deodorant on, put my clothes back on, brushed my hair, put my bag away, drove around, and I was back at the house I'd left around 40 minutes later, and met a friend. We chatted for a couple of minutes, then we continued with our day. We had a lovely time. No one would have guessed I'd been for a run, except perhaps my cheeks had more colour than beforehand. And we had a lovely day out, and she did go out with me again after that. The moral of the story is really, be prepared. I would never have been out on a date and said to her, "Look, you just look after yourself for 40 minutes, I'm going for a run now." She just happened to come up with the perfect opportunity for me to do that. I don't know why I put all that stuff in the back of my car when I was going out for the day on a date, but I did, just in case. So the moral of the story really is, if you want to fit as many runs in as you can, always be prepared. If you'd like to be informed each time I post a new talk, please subscribe to my channel.